Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally getting my hands into and playing with the new brand release from Makeup by Mario. And yeah, I got a lot. I picked up 3 palettes for the eyes. I picked up 2 of the Master Crystal Reflectors. I've got brushes. I have eye primers. I've got a lot to go over. So I'm going to be showing you guys 2 different looks. But before I do, and before I give you guys my opinions on everything, I am going to show you everything I got and give you guys the information one by one. Starting off with the Master Mattes palette. They all have the white packaging, and then they all have a mirror on the inside, which I have left the little sheet there because it doesn't end up blinding you guys whenever I'm showing it to you. This is the Master Mattes. Now what I like about this is it's literally matte 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 12. So there's no names but just numbers. This palette retails for $48 and it is described as a palette with 12 universal matte shadows that deliver smooth, luxurious, high blendable color. Inspired by human skin tones from light to deep, this custom Pro Matte formula has a feather-light creamy feel that applies evenly with medium buildable and blendable coverage. The Timeless palette offers superior grip and adherence with minimal fallout for the cleanest application. Then we have the Master Metallics palette right here. This one retails again for $48 and again, it is metallic 1 through 12. It's a palette of go-to universal metallic shadows that creates endless eye looks in 12 creamy, luxurious shades that melt onto the lids. This palette is inspired by Mario's love of nature. The Luxe formula can be used dry or wet to achieve a light wash or full coverage color. Lastly, for the eyeshadow palettes is the Master Metals. This one has the metal-like shades in there from silver, copper, gold, and this beautiful like rosy gold. It's a gorgeous shade. And then right here, this little guy pops out. It's a mixing tray, and I love that idea. I thought that was genius. And again, $48. Take eyeshadow to the next level with the intense high coverage and molten metal payoff. Packed with superfine iridescent pearls, it's formulated with a gel powder technology that offers silky, weightless color. Apply straight to the lids or transform them into a liquid foil with the Master Metal Manipulator. Retailing for $14, this is the Master Metal Manipulator. Say that 5 times fast. This is what you will use to create that foiled effect, and it comes with a spatula. So these 2 together, $14. The description reads that it's a pro mixing liquid that transforms metallic pigments into long-lasting molten metal eyeshadows and liners. I picked up 2 of the Master Metal Reflectors. They actually sent me the wrong shade. I got the shade Bronzite. This one is broken. I tried to squish it back in there. I don't know if I'm gonna actually be able to show this to you, but it arrived broken, so it's gonna have to go back. But I have squished it all down in there to get to try to use it. And then I also have Citrine, but I did not mean to get Citrine. I did not order Citrine. I ordered the lighter shade, but this is what we're working with today. These are $24 a piece, and they are described as an exclusive formula that creates a spotlight effect on the eyes or face and illuminates with aquatic radiant light. So you can use these on the eyes or on the face. For the swatches of these, I went ahead and swatched straight onto the skin as well as on top of the primer I'm about to show you, just so you can see how they look just on the skin as well as how they look if they have something to grip onto. Citrine is described as a sparkling golden yellow and Bronzite a shimmering cocoa brown. Then we have the Master Eye Prep and Set, and I got the shade Light. There's 3 different shade combinations, light, medium, and deep, but they don't have to match your exact skin tone. This is something you can use to prime and set the eye, as well as use on the face if you want to, but yeah, I'm not using these on my face. There's two different shades of the cream primer. You can use one or the other, whichever one you want, or you can mix them together. If you wanted to, you could also use something like this closer to the brow bone and then the lighter shade on the lid for a little bit more pop of color. Really, it's up to you. And then you have the powder down below, which will help you set everything. Personally, I don't like to set my eye, but I do like to set right underneath my brow arch, and this retails for $28. Then lastly, I got 4 of the 5 brushes. The one that I did not get was actually a dual-ended brush, and all of them retail for $22, even the dual-ended one. But the ones I did get, and I will be showing you guys today, is E5, which is a smaller, more detailed brush. Then we have a really nice fluffy brush. You can use this on the eyes, you can use it to highlight, whatever you would like. And this is the EF2, and then more of a packing brush. This is an E4, and then this brush. I love this style brush or this shape of brush. You can get into the crease, you can blend out, you can do so many different things with this shape. And this is the E3. All of these are synthetic. Let's get into the 2 different demos. First, I'm going to show you the look that I was wearing yesterday, and I wore this all day long, so I have a little bit of feedback on longevity. But with this look, I decided that I wanted to kind of test out my way of doing things with a regular primer that I always use. I used the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot yesterday, and then my usual brushes. And then today, I used the Prep and Set primer for the eyes, as well as his brushes. But I just wanted you guys to see how the products performed with both methods. All right, so yesterday first, and then this eye look next. Zoeva 227 and matte number 2. I'm going to take this shade all in the crease. Blending upward for my transition shade. I think I'm going to have to go in with something a little bit darker than this. Using the same brush, I'm now going to grab matte number 4. I'm going to go in the crease again, and I'm going to blend this shade upward. Just want it to be a little bit darker. Using the same shade, I'm taking that on a rougher number 3 and blending it out right along the lower lash line. Bristles Beauty EO2RL, and now I'm going to go in with matte number 7. Outer portion of the lid first, just kind of tapping it on. And then pick up a little bit more. And then take it into the crease. Smoking out this outer portion of the eye. From the Metallics palette, I'm taking Metallic number 3 on a Wayne Goss number 18. I'm first going to focus this in the crease area. I love adding a little sheen to the crease, but you don't have to. Esom W21, and now I'm taking Metallic number 12. I'm going to pack this on the lid. Back in with the Refer number 3 and the third metallic. This time I'm using it wet, and I'm also putting that along the lower lash line. Refer 21 and metallic shade 8. I'm going to highlight my brow arch. Metallic shade number 5. I'm taking that on a Bristles Beauty P06 RF. I'm going to pop that on my inner corner. Now I'm going to go in with the Master Crystal Reflector in Bronzite. Taking this on my finger, just kind of going over this eye look. For the finished look, all I did was go in with the matte black and kind of smudge out a little bit of a liner and then add mascara. Going in with the Master Eye Prep and Set palette in the shade Light, I'm grabbing the darker of the two creams and priming my eyes. I'm using a Royal Inlay Nickel Omnia BOM 460 to do so. Now I'm going in with the E4 brush from Mario, and I'm taking the powder from that palette and just setting right underneath my brow. Dipping into the mattes palette, I'm taking the Mario E3 and the matte shade 3. I'm gonna start. I kind of thought that this was gonna happen again. So this shade is a little light, but I wanted to see just what color it would go on. Just gonna throw this into the crease, and then I'm gonna go in with something a little bit deeper, like I did in the first tutorial. With the EF2 from Mario, I'm going to go in with shade number 5 in the matte palette. And I am going to take this into the crease. Just deepen it up a little bit. Reaching back in, grabbing a little bit more product. Just adding a little bit as I go, and just pretty easily blending this out, or I guess I should say sloppily. But because this is such a fluffy brush and the product isn't, like, it's a little softer, so you don't really have to worry about kind of messing it up. Back in with the E3 from Mario and shade number 10. Going to warm up the outer corner. Trying to smoke it out just a little bit. Picking up a little bit more. Shade number 11 from the same palette on an E5. I'm going to pop this on the inner corner. As well as the outer. Then I'm going in with the E3 and blending that out. Just adding a little bit more back in with that E5, making sure I keep the depth. Mario E4, going back in with the Prep and Set palette and the powder. Just going to take that and go right around the edge of the shadow. E5, back in with shade number 10. I'm going to take this right along the lower lash line. Dipping into the Master Metals, I'm taking the E4 and the Bright Gold. I'm first using this dry. Oh my gosh, look at this just dry. Ooh, this is pretty. I'm just tapping it all over the center portion of the lid and lightly over the darker edges. I've taken that same shade and mixed it with the Master Metal Manipulator. I'm taking that on the E5 and I'm just going to stamp right at the base of my lashes. Now with the copper shade, again mixed with the Metal Manipulator, on a rougher number 3, I'm going to pop this right on the front portion of the lower lash line, right where the inner corner is. Just dragging it out a little bit. Then I'm going to go back in with the Master Eye Prep and Set. I'm taking the very first, the lighter of the 2 creams, and I'm going to take that on my Bristles Beauty P06 RF, kind of create a line down the center of my eye. I'm blending it out just a little bit and also putting it right underneath the brow arch because I'm going to add some glitter. Using my finger and the Master Crystal Reflector in Citrine, just going right over where I applied that base and blending out. Back in with the E3 to blend around the edges, no additional product. And then I'm going to go add on some liner and mascara. Now let's talk about my feelings. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about these products and how I feel about them, just take it with a grain of salt. I have mixed feelings when it comes to this collection, but I absolutely adore Mario. I think he is amazing. And what I've seen of him, I don't personally know him, obviously, but he just seems like a really great person, and I'm trying to be as fair as possible. I think I was expecting more from this launch, and some things I felt were really, really good, and then some things I felt like missed the mark a little bit. Like I said, we're just going to go through each of the products. The first thing I want to talk about is the eye primer and the powder that goes along with it, the eye prep and set to be exact. This I really, really like. I like that it's all in one compact. I love that you have a lighter and a darker shade in there. This is something that I'm going to get a lot of use out of. It's something that I can just grab and I have everything all in one, because usually I have to get whatever primer I'm using and then I go in with a bone color shade or just powder in general, but this just has everything all in one, and I really like that, and it performs well. I felt that it held onto the shadows very, very nicely, and it really helped to adhere that glitter, because the first look I had a little bit more trouble with it, and throughout the day, yeah, okay, so this is a hit. I really, really like this. But moving on to the reflectors, the crystal reflectors, I just want to call them glitter. So aside from Bronzite breaking, I mean, that happens, but it does show that the formula is a little soft and a little delicate. Now, I was curious, because mine had broken and I had to smash it back in there, that if that affected the way it went on my eyes, because I felt like it didn't have the grip that I really wanted to see out of this, because I'm very familiar with like eye toppers. Tom Ford has them in his palettes. Wayne Goss has them. Charlotte Tilbury. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. And actually, let me show you another one. I'm going to show you 2. This is Moonstone from Bobbi Brown, and it is the Luxe Eyeshadow Rich Sparkle. Now, these are expensive. Like, they're really expensive for one single, but this has a little bit more of that grip that I like. If you can see like how much sparkle comes off on that. Now I wish that I had the lighter shade that I actually ordered from this collection because it would have been a better comparison. But let me show you Citrine. I don't want to show you Bronzite because that is the one that's broken. This one right here, I'm going to get a good swatch of it. It doesn't have the same grip. It just doesn't, I don't know how to describe it. There's just some more gripping powder in the formula of the Bobbi Brown. The Mario one just doesn't seem to have the same amount of grip to it. And I found that wearing the Bronzite shade throughout the day, when it was just applied directly over the metallic shadows, that it fell over my face. And a lot of it was gone by the end of the day. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it. It just didn't have the same shine as I had initially. And it was said that you could just put it on top of other shadows. So I was thinking, okay, well, is it because, you know, it really isn't meant to be put on top of other shadows, even though it says you can, or is it because possibly mine was broken, so maybe it was compromised in some way. But playing with the gold, I feel the same way. This texture is just, it's smooth, like it feels nice, but it just, I don't know, there is something that is missing, and I think that is the grip. I was also asked about the Fenty How Many Carats. Let me show you this one. This one feels a little bit more like bouncy, creamy. It has more of, I mean, look at that. That is incredible. It just, and you can kind of push on it. It's a little bit more of like that putty texture. You see that? It just looks so wet. And I really, really like that. With these reflectors from Mario, they are a little bit more glittery, like just they're glitter. Whereas this one, you can see it's a little bit more of that wet type of look because of the formula. And then this one is definitely straight up glitter, but because it has a different formula, I feel like it just performs better. So for me, I'm not really loving those. Like, they're probably some of my least favorite things in the collection personally, but I did find that Citrine applied today over top of the primer, it did hold much better, but still not as well as I feel other products that I have used in the past. If I was going to use this again, I would just put the primer on, nothing else, and use it all over my eyes and just really pack it on. But I'm not over the moon about it. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest, and these are just my opinions. Let's talk about something that I do really like, and it's the metals palette. This is beautiful. If you are just looking to add to your collection the metal shades, especially, like, I have a lot of the metal pigments from MAC, and I have a lot of mixing mediums as well, so I can create a lot of these looks, but it can be a little bit messy, so it's nice to have them just pressed like this. And I even like these applied to the lid without them being wet, which is incredible. I think that these are so pretty. To me though, I wish that the spatula came with the palette instead of with the mixing medium. I guess it would make sense either way, but I really love that we have this little tray that you can remove and clean, and it would have been really cool to just have this already. If you're somebody like me, I have a ton of different mixing mediums, and all of them would work with this. I mean, technically even MAC Fix Plus would work with it, but the difference in like something like MAC Fix Plus and Duraline, Mayron, this one right here, what is it called? It's all these M's, Master Metal Manipulator. This right here, it does work well. It does, by the way. And I like the little dropper style on it, but you don't necessarily need this if you have any of the other mixing mediums. And then with MAC Fix Plus, that is going to make it look metal, and it's going to make it last a little bit longer. But these tend to either make it last longer, which is what I saw with this. I didn't see on, at least on the Sephora website, that it said it made it waterproof, but a lot of them make it waterproof. So mixing mediums are better than something like MAC Fix Plus, but MAC Fix Plus will still make these look metal, metallic, foiled, or whatever you want to call it. It's just up to you as to whether or not you need that extra longevity or anything like that. And then with this spatula, I love that you can literally just take it and go like this, and you don't make a huge mess, and you get just the product that you need, and you can just tap it off in here. I love this. I think this is beautiful. The Master Metallics palette. This one I'm a little back and forth on. Like, I like it, but I don't love it, but I do like it. I think it's a pretty palette, and I like the colors that he chose. My one thing is that it does fade a little bit. So I wore that look that I had on with the first look. I wore it all day long. So I had a little bit of glitter fallout, and then these shades, they kind of faded a little bit throughout the day. Nothing major, but I would say that this is definitely a little bit more on the buildable side. And if you wanted the true like intensity, you could use them wet. I think it's pretty. I don't think it's a must-have. I want to show you just some things that I have by comparison. I have here the Kevyn Aqua Electropop palette. Let me just show you the side by side. There you go. Just in case somebody has this one, then you can see how they look. And then I also have my Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Icon palette, which is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I almost picked up the Electropop palette. There you have it. I don't think that if you have this or if you have the Electropop palette, that you really need to have this one, but this shade right here is really, really pretty. Like, this one's really good. And then I also have this ginormous beauty from Viseart, and this is the Grand Pro Volume 2. This is just a bunch of different types of sheens with a bunch of different colors. And again, let me show you. I have a lot of these in my collection, and I do prefer the other formulas. You know, obviously this is a huge palette. It's definitely more expensive, and the Charlotte Tilbury and the Kevyn Aqua. But I just want to reiterate that I don't think this is a bad palette. It's just that I will grab for those other ones before I do this one. Now for the one that I believe everybody is waiting to hear about, the Master Mattes. This is a beautiful palette. It's all matte, and the formula truly is what it says it is. It's a light, medium, buildable coverage shadow that actually performs that way. I had issues with the MAC Powder Kiss shadows. Again, this formula is better and more true to what I would expect the MAC ones to be. Of course, I built this up. I wanted to have something a little bit more intense, but these shadows are definitely something that will go on light and you can build them up. So if you're looking for something that is just softer, it's easier to use. So this isn't going to be patchy or anything like that, but it's not going to give you pigment straight out the gate, but that can be scary to some people. This is something that I would suggest to somebody who wants matte shadows. They don't want to have too much pigmentation or too much of a hard time blending them out. These blend like a dream. They just blend themselves. They are a thinner formula, so keep that in mind. I do prefer to have mattes that are a little bit more substantial and that just have pigmentation straight out the gate. But with his description and how he talks about this, I feel like it lives up to what it's supposed to be. So I can't be mad at that. And I do appreciate the softness of it with the ability to build it up. Now I'm just going to show you guys two comparisons just because that's what I thought of immediately, and you know they're from Viseart. I picked up the neutral and then the warm matte just to show you guys. This formula is one of my favorites when it comes to matte formulas. I love this palette so much. If you already have these Viseart palettes, I wouldn't say that you need to have the Master palette by Mario or Master Mattes. There's all these M's. And here is the warm mattes. If you take this section out, I think it throws people, that will throw you off, but yeah. So if you have these, I don't think that you need this one, but I think it's a nice palette. Not a must-have. I definitely think that most people will have these shades in their collection, but again, if you're looking for something that is softer and more buildable instead of just pigment straight out the gate, this is a nice one to check out. Then we have the brushes. Now at first I was not sure how I felt about these, but they actually work very nicely with that matte formula. It's something about how soft these are, and they are synthetic, and the softness of the mattes that I feel like they work pretty well together. But I have to say that when I was using my brushes the first day, it was more of instant color payoff than I got with this. I did have to build a little bit more when I was using these brushes. So I don't think that they're great, but I don't think that they're bad either. I don't like the price. Okay, that one's on the floor and it's gonna stay there. The only issue I have with these is the price tag. I don't feel like they're $22 brushes. I feel like they're more like $15. For me, Sonia Kashuk, almost said Sonia G. Sonia Kashuk has some really great brushes, same price range, that I feel like are a little bit better, but these do work nicely with the mattes. They performed well with this eye look in general, and I gotta tell you that this little guy I really, really like. It's like a little fluffy detailer brush. So if you know this one that I really like from Bristles Beauty, it's bigger and fluffier than that. So just for a comparison for you, I just found it to be nice to kind of get in right in this area. If I just wanted to kind of blend some areas out without it being, you know, like a huge brush and just wanted to smoke something out, I like this brush. I would actually purchase a couple more of those if they weren't $22. I just think that they're a little bit overpriced. Overall, I can't say that the collection wowed me. I have liked Mario's collections, like collaborations, a little bit better that like he's done in the past with other brands. So I guess to me, my expectations were probably a little bit too high. I think that this is a nice line, but I think I expected something a little bit more high-end from Mario, and that could just be me. Again, I don't mean this as like a personal attack or anything like that. It's just my expectations. I just think it's a nice collection. I don't think that there's anything that truly stands out to me other than the Metals palette, which I think is really, really beautiful. When I look at this collection, I don't really see Mario. Maybe that's part of the problem as well. To me, it feels a little bit more like Sephora collection. I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's just I'm having a hard time connecting the dots between like what I have, my image of what I expected, and my image of him. And again, I mean absolute no disrespect. I'm trying to put the dots together here, and I just feel like something is missing. He is so artistry driven. I think I just expected a little bit more. It's a nice collection. It's a pretty collection, but I feel like it could have been bumped up just a little bit more. And yeah, that's just my 2 cents, you guys. But anywho, beauties, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the looks. Let me know if you did by giving a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.